Okay, today we are going to start with the topic of traffic stream characteristics. Okay, and traffic stream characteristics, a part of it is related to volume and flow characteristics as well, which is discussed in chapter 6. So I have added the parts from chapter 5 and 6 together in these slides. Okay, so these slides are partly from chapter 5, partly from chapter 6. Okay, because the topics are related to each other. Now, traffic stream is made up of vehicles basically, right? And these vehicles for the time being are driven by drivers. Okay. Obviously, we are going into an era where you will find driverless cars and autonomous vehicles and Google cars and Teslas and so on. But for the time being, till we reach completely into that era, vehicles are driven by drivers. Okay. So these vehicles and drivers, they affect each other, they interact with each other. So one driver and one vehicle can affect the other driver and the other vehicles. And they also get affected by the elements of the road and the general environment. Now, what elements of the road affect traffic stream? Not stream means flow, right? Stream is something which is flowing. Huh? Stream of water means channel of water which is flowing. So traffic stream or traffic flow means the same thing. So what elements of the road affect traffic flow? We have discussed many of them in the last two chapters. Can you tell me some of them? The elements, physical elements of the road which affect traffic flow, traffic streams. Go ahead.
The slope.
Slope, okay. Anything else? We discussed many things in the last two chapters. Remember something? The slope is one of them. And what else? What did we design in the last chapter?
Also the width of the road.
Width of the road, okay. What else? What were we discussing in the last chapter? Last chapter, the one which we finished on Thursday. I'm trying to make it easier for you guys. Last chapter we were discussing the design of horizontal curves, vertical curves. I did not imagine that you guys will forget so quickly. Okay, pull up your socks. The exam time is coming. You are reaching near exams. You're not getting far from it. So if you keep on forgetting the previous chapters, then the exam you will only do like one question. So in the previous chapter we discussed about horizontal curves, vertical curves, so cross slope, super elevation, radius, so many things. So these are all physical elements of the road which affect the environment. Okay. Now traffic streams, which affect the traffic stream, and then there are the general environment as well. For example, the objects which you have on the side of the road, the lighting conditions, the weather conditions, they also affect traffic streams. Now traffic streams do not behave in the same manner, okay, in terms of like they show variation in terms of time as well as space. Okay, if you observe traffic stream, for example, on two different times at the same location, they will not be the same. They will not be having the same flow, the same speed, and the same characteristics. Similarly, if you observe traffic stream in two different locations, even at the same time, they will not be same. Okay. So even if it is you are measuring the traffic stream at the same time, but the location is different. The traffic stream, the traffic flow characteristics will be different. So traffic streams vary according to time as well as space. And what are the reasons for that? The reasons are, the two main reasons are drivers and vehicles. Variations in individual drivers and variations in driver behavior and variations in individual vehicles. So if any of you has like more than one car in their house, in their family, and they have the experience of driving simultaneously 2-3 cars, then they would know that each vehicle has its own characteristics. Okay, the acceleration, the size, the weight, the braking, and so many things. Okay, so vehicles do not have the same characteristics, and obviously vehicles are part of traffic flow. So if this essential or necessary or the basic element of traffic flow has different characteristics, then obviously characteristics of the traffic flow will change. The traffic flow will change. Similarly, drivers do not behave in the same manner. If you have a driver who is driving on a freeway, he will behave differently as compared to his behavior in the on the local street. Okay. A driver who is coming towards the school area, he will behave differently. A driver who is in a hurry, who is getting late for his work, may behave differently. So that driver will drive differently and he will affect the others as well. Okay. So because of these things, traffic streams vary or change according to time and space. We have two types of traffic facilities. Okay, in terms of traffic facilities meaning streets and highways. So streets and highways can be divided into two types: main, uninterrupted flow, and interrupted flow facilities. Uninterrupted flow facilities are those facilities which do not have any external interruption to the traffic stream. Uninterrupted flow facilities are those facilities which do not have any external interruption to the traffic stream. What do we mean by external interruption? I will show it to you in the next slide in more detail, but just to give an example, intersections. Intersections are external interruptions because intersections are not part of the design of the road. Intersections are not necessary so that the vehicles can move. Vehicles need a road, a pavement. Okay, they need the lanes and they need a driver and they can move. Okay, so intersections are something which you put over the top of the design of the road. Okay, like something which is external, something which is extra. Okay, and the main function of providing an intersection is to provide access. And again, this is not access with an E, that means too much, right? This is access with an A, that means the entry. So intersections, this is the main function of intersection, right? That they provide access or entry to the highway. So, or they provide access or entry to the other highways from your highway. So these uninterrupted flow facilities have full access control. Full access control. They do not have any intersections. Okay, they only have ramps. They only have ramps, and for the ramps, the drivers on the main highway do not have to stop by law. For regulating traffic, we do not need the driver on the main highway to stop for the vehicles coming from the ramp. Okay, so this is why even with the ramps, these facilities have full access control. They will lose the control of access when they come to an intersection. Okay, so uninterrupted flow facilities do not have any external interruptions or intersections which can interrupt the flow. Okay, so these are mainly known as freeways, like Sheikh Khalifa bin Salman Highway, Sheikh Isa bin Salman Highway. These are freeways. Other examples can be multi-lane highways, which can be in urban or rural areas. Okay, multi-lane highways can also be, other multi-lane highways can also be uninterrupted flow, and rural two-lane highways can also be uninterrupted flow. Now, why only rural two-lane highways? Why not just any two-lane highway? Because in rural areas, population density is low, traffic is low, and there is not much development around the highway. So two-lane highways in rural areas can be sufficient even for high speeds. Even without intersections, they can work. But in urban areas, two-lane highways are mainly given in residential areas or as local streets. Okay, so in that case, you cannot make them uninterrupted. Local streets, residential areas, they need access. People will come out of the parking garages, they need to turn to some other highway and so on and so forth, and you cannot provide ramps there. Okay, so only rural two-lane highways can be uninterrupted flow facilities. Okay, like two-lane highways can be uninterrupted for flow facilities only in rural areas. Okay, now the main characteristic of uninterrupted flow facility is the traffic stream is only affected by the interaction of vehicles and the road and the environment. The vehicles themselves, which are already on that road, are getting affected by the design of the road and the environment around the road. There is no external interruption, like there is no signal for them to stop. If the other vehicles are moving smoothly, all if vehicles are moving smoothly, then all of them will keep on moving. Okay, they don't have to stop because of anything which will suddenly block their movement. Okay, like a signal or roundabout. Okay, so the flow of traffic on the uninterrupted flow facilities are, are only affected by the vehicles themselves and the design of the road and the environment. Then we have interrupted flow facilities, which have fixed external interruptions. Okay, so fixed external interruptions which are now part of the design of the road, and these interruptions can include, like I said, intersections, and intersections can be of different types. You can have signalized intersection with stop signs, yield or give way signs, unsignalized at gate intersections like roundabouts, driveways, like I mentioned for the local streets and residential areas. So you have people coming out of the driveways, garages, and so on. Curb parking maneuvers, okay, people who are going into or coming out of the parking which is on the side of the road. We are not talking about garages or parking facilities. We are talking about the roadside parking. So roadside parking can also be part of interrupted flow, or the highway may become interrupted flow because of the roadside parking as well, or any other point from which you are providing access to the land. Any other point from which you are providing access to the land will also become an interrupted flow facility. So you have a part of land which is beside the road, and you have a point from where anybody can enter that land from the highway. That becomes an interrupted flow facility. That point makes the highway an uninterrupted flow. Makes the highway an interrupted flow facility. Okay. Now I want to focus on two terms here which are used in the first point here: fixed external interruptions. Fixed external interruptions. So the interruption which can make the highway interrupted flow should be fixed and external. Fixed meaning, like I said, the intersection is a fixed interruption. Okay, you may wish and you may hope that when I come here in the evening, this intersection should not be there. But obviously, that intersection will remain there. So this is fixed. Okay, so if a traffic accident causes the flow to be interrupted, that is not a fixed interruption. If a traffic accident or a construction activity causes the flow to be interrupted, then that highway will not change its type from uninterrupted to interrupted because of the construction activity or because of the traffic accident. Okay, if these interruptions are not there, then any temporary incident cannot change the highway from uninterrupted to interrupted. Okay, so interruptions should be fixed. If you are calling a highway interrupted, that means the interruption is fixed. One of these things. Most of these things are fixed interruptions. They do not change from one day to the other. And it should be external. Again, you may have traffic jam. And traffic jam can happen on any type of highway. Traffic jam happens when the flow of cars or the flow of vehicles goes above capacity. That can happen to uninterrupted or interrupted flow facility. Okay, that will not change the type of facility because that is not something external. You have, for example, Sheikh Isa bin Salman Highway, And on that highway, on any particular day, let's say the demand goes over the capacity of the road. The volume or the flow of vehicles goes above the capacity of the road. That doesn't mean the road has become interrupted flow. Okay, because obviously this is not fixed, traffic jam is not fixed, and secondly it is not external, it is because of the vehicles themselves, because of the flow of vehicles themselves. It is not something which you have put as a designer on the road, as a design engineer on the road. Okay, it is because of the flow of the vehicles. If something is because of the flow of vehicles, it is part of the it will not change the type of facility. Okay, similarly you may have a driveway, and from that driveway nobody is coming out. So the facility is interrupted because the driveway is there. Okay, the presence of the driveway makes it interrupted. But if nobody is coming out of the driveway, obviously you as a driver in that condition will keep on moving. You will not face the interruption at that time in that condition. But at some other condition, you may face an interruption. Okay. Similarly, for a signal, you come to the intersection, signal is already green, so you go on without stopping. That does not make that highway uninterrupted. The type of highway will remain interrupted. Okay, so any condition of the traffic or any condition particular time of the traffic will not change the type of highway. Okay, because the interruption we are talking about are fixed and external. Okay, now let us discuss traffic stream parameters. Traffic stream parameters are those parameters which are used for measuring or observing traffic flow. Those parameters which are used for measuring or observing traffic flow. These parameters are of two types. We have macroscopic, MACRO, macroscopic, and we have microscopic, MICRO, microscopic parameters. Macroscopic parameters are those parameters which describe traffic stream as one unit, as a whole. Okay, so you will have one value of a macroscopic parameter for the whole traffic stream. For example, the flow values which you have taken for 15 minutes interval for your term project. So in 15 minutes you have observed, let's say, 400 vehicles. When you gave me the value, you said 400. So that 400 is describing the traffic of the 15 minutes, just one value. So that 400 is a macroscopic parameter, MACRO, macroscopic parameter. Okay, microscopic parameters are, and you can see it here, volume and flow is written here. Microscopic parameters are those parameters which describe the behavior of individual vehicles or pair of vehicles. Individual vehicles or pair of vehicles. For example, again referring to the first submission of the term project, you guys measured speed of individual vehicles. Okay, so the speed of individual vehicles, you can see it here, it is written as microscopic parameter. Okay, so if you tell me speed of this vehicle is this much, this one has a speed of this much, and so on. So these individual values are microscopic parameters. Okay, some of you calculated, or many of you calculated, the average value as well. So you took a speed of 100 vehicles and then you took the average. Now that average value belongs to all those 100 cars, right? Belongs to all those 100 vehicles. So that average will be a macroscopic parameter. And you can see it is written here. So this speed, which is written as a macroscopic parameter, is basically the average speed of the vehicles. And the one which is written as microscopic is the speed of the individual vehicles. Okay. So macroscopic means parameter representing the whole traffic stream, and microscopic means the parameter representing one vehicle or a pair of vehicles. So speed is for individual vehicles, and then you see headwind spacing, which are for pair of vehicles. And obviously I will define and discuss these parameters in detail in the coming slides. Let us start with macroscopic parameter. The first one we will discuss is volume and flow rate. Okay, now these are the two important parameters which we use in design, volume and flow rate. But flow rate comes from flow. Flow rate is calculated from flow. So I will explain flow here as well. Let me try to explain it with an example. So let's say you measured traffic flows from 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and you divided this time into 15 minutes interval. Okay, so you had a value from 7 to 7:15. Okay, and then you had a value from 7:15 to 7:30. and so on. Okay, so obviously if you divide 1 hour into 15 minutes interval, you will have 4 values, right? 7 to 7:15, 7:15 to 7:30, 7:30 to 7:45, and 7:45 to 8. Okay, now let me write these values. For example, in the first 15 minutes you observe 200 vehicles. In the next 15 minutes you observe 210 vehicles. In the next 15 minutes you observe 160 vehicles. And the last 15 minutes, 7:45 to 8, you observe, let's say, 220 vehicles. Okay, so if you add these 4 values, you will get the value for the full hour, right, from 7 to 8 a.m. Tell me the full value here. What is the total of number of vehicles from 7 to 8? What is the total here?
790.
790. So 790 is the number of vehicles you observed from a point or a lane or a direction of the highway. Okay, depending upon why you are doing the observation. So this value is what we call as volume. Number of vehicles passing a point, lane or direction of the highway in unit time interval, and that time interval is normally 1 hour or more. Now what you can have more than 1 hour? 1 day. Okay, so volume is normally number of vehicles passing in 1 hour or 1 day. Okay, number of vehicles passing per hour or per day, and that can be for a point or a lane or the whole direction of the highway. Okay, that is volume. Okay, which is taken for 1 hour or 1 day. Then we have flow. Now each of these 4 values is flow. 200, 210, 160, 220. All of them are different values of flow. So what is flow? Number of vehicles passing point, lane or direction of the highway in less than 1 hour. So each value is for 15 minutes. Each of these values is for 15 minutes. So these values represent flow. These values represent flow. Okay, so if you count vehicles or observe vehicles for less than 1 hour, it becomes flow. Then as I said, you can calculate flow rate using flow value. So how do we do it? Let us take this value of flow, which is 220. Now if I observed 220 vehicles in 15 minutes, then flow rate will be the equivalent rate of vehicles observed in 1 hour. Okay, if you take this value of 220, okay, and you want to convert it into flow rate, then it will be the equivalent flow of vehicles or equivalent rate of flow of vehicles in 1 hour. Now how do I convert 220 from 15 minutes to 1 hour? Number of vehicles in 1 hour. What should I do with it? If I have 220 vehicles in 15 minutes, how do I convert it to 1 hour? How many vehicles for 1 hour? (15 minutes, 220 vehicles. How many in 1 hour with the same rate? What should I do with it? If you guys are typing, I cannot see. Okay, don't type.
It will be 220 times 4.
Yeah, because each hour has 4 15 minutes intervals, so multiply 220 by 4, or you divide by 0.25 because 15 minutes is 0.25 for 1 hour. Okay, both will give you the same answer. So 220 multiplied by 4 will give you 880, right? So 880 will be the flow rate. 880 will be the flow rate. So what is flow rate? It is the flow represented or converted to an equivalent hourly rate. The flow value represented or converted to an equivalent hourly rate. So you take a value which is for less than 1 hour and you convert it to 1 hour. Okay, another example is given here. If you have 400 vehicles in 15 minutes, then 400 multiplied by 4 or 400 divided by 0.25 will give you 1600 vehicles per hour. So this is flow rate. Okay, flow rate. The value was taken for less than 1 hour and then converted to an equivalent hourly rate. Okay, now let us discuss volumes. Volumes can be, as I said, per day or per hour. per day volume are known as daily volumes. Daily volumes can be used for documentation of trends of traffic, studying the trends of traffic, and for future forecasting, for future planning. So if you want to see the trend of traffic in the last 20 years, last 10 years, you will use daily volume. Okay. If you want to forecast or plan for the next 10, 20 years, again, you will use daily volume. What's the reason? Because if you use hourly volume, then each day has 24 hours. So it will increase your variation, right? If you are doing it for next 20 years or trying to study the trend for the last 10 years, then last 10 years each year has 365 days and each day has 24 hours. It will increase the complexity so much. Okay, so for future and past trends, we use daily volumes because it has less variation, so easy to calculate and easy to study. One more thing about daily volume is it does not have any directional separation. It is not classified into different directions. So it is the total daily volume. Daily volume is always the total for both directions. Total for both directions. So if I tell you 40,000 vehicles on this highway, 40,000 will include vehicles from both directions. Okay, 40,000 per day, then it will include vehicles from both directions. Daily volumes can be of 4 types. We can have AADT, average annual daily traffic. We can have AAWT, which is average annual weekday traffic. We can have ADT, which is average daily traffic. And we can have AWT, which is average weekday traffic. Okay. Now what is AADT? You take 24-hour counts, okay, for 365-day period of the year, and then you take the average of these 24-hour counts. Okay, 24-hour counts taken over a period of 365 days of the year and then taken the average. That will give you average annual daily traffic, AADT. One important point I want to explain here, which will also help you in the other topics of this course as well, or the other questions in this section and course as well, which is they are using the word 24-hour and 365 day. They did not mention which hour and which day. So your day doesn't have to start from first of your year doesn't have to start from 1st of January. For example, you are given a task, calculate ADT for this location right now. I give you the task, do it, start it right now. So you go to that highway. Okay, let's say you reach there at 2 p.m. and you start your counting at 2 p.m. So your 24-hour period will end 2 p.m. next day, and this is fine. You can start from any hour of the day, okay, and you have to complete the next 24 hours. Okay, same thing with the day of the year as well. So you can start from now, which is 28 February, and you will end where? Next year, 28 February. So this is fine. Okay, unless you are fulfilling you are completing the period of observation, you can start from any day or any hour of the day. Okay, now you can see here they are saying 365 days, okay, or 366 days in a leap year. What is a leap year? What is a leap year? Yes, what is a leap year? Again, if you are typing, I cannot see it. Speak up.
29 day in February.
Yeah, the leap year is when February has 29 days. Well, the reason I asked is that, you know, in one of the exams, students were required to, you know, calculate ADT, AWT, and these things, and they required the number of days in the month. Okay, and surprisingly, some of them didn't know which months have 30 days and which months have 31 days, and which is fine. Okay, up till this much I can ignore, I can, you know, forgive. So then I told them, okay, assume, you know, number of days in the month, whichever you feel that it has 30 days or 31 days, you can assume it. Some of them assume February to be 30 days as well. Imagine February to have 30 days. Huh? So they were in a different time zone altogether. They were inventing their own calendar. So that's why I asked. So obviously, if February has 29 days, then the full year will have one extra day for you. Okay. So it will be, instead of 365 days, you will complete 366 days, right? So this is average annual daily traffic. Then we have average annual weekday traffic. So you can see this word is changed now. The word daily is replaced with weekday. Okay. So it is 24-hour count taken over full 365 days of the year, but the average is taken only for the weekdays of the year. The average is taken only for the weekdays of the year. So the weekends are ignored. Weekends are ignored. The weekend traffic is either not taken or is not part of the averaging. So when you're taking the average, the weekend traffic is taken out of the summation. Okay, and then you will divide by the number of weekdays in the year. Okay, so you are measuring traffic from one day of the year till the next day same year. Sorry, till the same day next year. But within this period, wherever weekends are coming, you are taking them out, and then you take the average only with the number of weekdays. Why? Because I think you know the reason that normally in most of the cases, weekday traffic is higher on the highways as compared to weekend traffic, because weekdays have more activities. You know, offices are open, banks, hospitals, educational institutes, everything is open, so we have more traffic. So weekday traffic in some locations can be more important. So where we feel the weekday traffic is more important, we can only take the weekday traffic. Okay. So normally, or not normally, 1 year has around 52 weeks, and each week has weekdays. Sorry, each week has 2 weekends. So if you exclude the weekends, then you will be having around 260 days in the year. 365 is the total, and from there 52 weeks, and each week has 2 weekends. You exclude them, you have around 260 days. Okay, in some cases 259, in some cases 261, 262. Okay, but around 260 days. Then we have average daily traffic. Again, if you compare it with the first term, with the first type, the word annual has gone out now. This word has gone out now. Okay, so it is average of traffic which is taken for 24-hour periods. Okay, taken for 24 hours, but for your counting period, your observation period was less than 1 year. So average daily traffic is when you are taking traffic 24-hour counts for less than 1 year, and then you take the average. You will not get AADT, you will just get ADT, average daily traffic. Why do we calculate average daily traffic? Normally the case is when you want the traffic for each month. You want to see the variation in traffic for each month. Then you may go for averaging of traffic for each month of the year. Okay. Then we have average weekday traffic. So again, you can see there is no annual here, so it is for less than 1 year, and you can see daily is replaced with weekday. Okay. So again, this is taken for less than 1 year, only for the weekends. Taken for less than 1 year, only for the weekends. Okay. And again, you may be doing it for each month of the year. Okay, let us look at an example here. So in this example, you can see the data which is given. Data is given for all 12 months of the year. In each month, they have given the number of weekdays. So they counted how many weekdays you have. Okay, so 260 is not a constant number. Okay, each month may have a different number of weekdays. So you can, you have a calendar in front of you and you count how many weekdays there were in the month and in the whole year. And then obviously, maybe they knew about us, and maybe they knew some of you would take 30 days in February as well. So even the total number of days in each month is mentioned here. Okay, so if you do the summation of weekdays of the year, 260, summation of total number of days of the year, 365. This is the total traffic in each month. So 425,000 vehicles in January, 410,000 vehicles in February, and so on. Total vehicles in the whole year, total number of vehicles in the whole year. Okay, 5,445,000. And this is traffic on the weekdays. Okay, so 208,000 vehicles on weekdays in January, 220,000 vehicles on weekdays in February, and so on. And then you have the total of the weekdays of the year as well. Okay, now they are asking us to calculate AADT, AAWT, ADT, and AWT. Okay, and ADT and AWT for each month. ADT and AWT for each month. Okay, starting with AADT. AADT is the average of total traffic taken for the whole year. Okay, so which numbers should I use here? Okay, what should I do here? And with the given data, what should I do? Which values should I use to calculate AADT? Average annual daily traffic. The average traffic, the average daily traffic for the whole year. How do I calculate it?
We will take the total monthly volume over the total monthly volume of the year.
Total
For
monthly
example,
volume of the, say again.
For example, if we take for January, we will take total monthly
No,
volume.
No. AADT and AAWT, they are not for each month. As I told you, this is why they have put an extra end here. Okay, so ADT and AWT for each month, but AADT and AAWT cannot be for each month. It will be for the whole year. AAD, because it's annual, right? It's annual. Something which is annual cannot be for each month. So I'm asking you, how do I calculate AADT for the whole year here? It will be one value. It will be one value. Yes. Average annual daily traffic. Average of the whole year. I need average daily traffic for the whole year. What should I do?
I think summation of column 4 divided by summation of column 3.
Summation of column 4 divided by summation of column 3. Very good. That's right. Do it. Tell me the value. So total traffic of the whole year upon total number of days of the year. How much?
$14,917.8.
14,917. So I will take it 0.918. Okay, for 917.8, I will take it 918. And the units will be vehicles per day, right? You took number of vehicles, you divide by number of days. So units will be vehicles per day. Okay, now AADT, what should I do with it? AAWT, sorry, AAWT, average annual weekday traffic. What should I do for it? I need the average
Summation
of the
column
whole year.
of 5 and
No, 5
divided by
divided by
365.
Yes.
Wrong. Try it again. Summation of column 5 divided by
Summation of column 2.
column 2.
Yes.
Yeah, number of weekdays, not the total number of days. Okay, do it. So total traffic of the weekdays, which is summation of column 5 upon total number of weekdays in the year, which is summation of column 2. Go ahead. How much?
9934.6.
9934.6. So I will take it 35. Okay, and again the units are vehicles per day. Okay, now moving on to ADT and AWT. Now obviously this is not annual, so this will be calculated for each month. Okay, and I will just calculate, or I will just do the calculation with you for a couple of values so that you have an idea, and then you can do the remaining values yourself. Okay, now ADT for January. ADT for January. Average of traffic in January. Daily traffic. What should I do?
31 multiply 425.
Average, not total. Total is already given.
Okay.
Trying to find out average. So try again. What should I do? You were right about the columns, but instead of multiplying, I will do what?
Divide.
Divide. So 425,000 divided by 31. How much? How much is it?
13710.
13710. Okay, and the units will be vehicle per day again. Okay, vehicles per day. So this is daily. All of them are daily volumes, right? Okay, for AWT of January, what should I do? AWT of January. AWT, average weekday traffic of January. What should I do?
Column 5 divided by column 2.
Column 2.
Column 2, yes, go ahead.
9454.5.
9454. Okay, for February, 410,000 divided by 28, and then 220,000 divided by 20. How much?
One 14642.
14642 and
11000.
11,000. Okay, now in all the cases you can see the daily averages are higher than weekday averages. See here, AWT is higher than AADT is higher than AWT. Here you see for January and February both ADT is higher than AWT. So the average of the whole week is higher than the average of the weekday. Average of the whole week is higher than the average of the weekday. So weekday traffic is lower than the overall week. Weekday traffic is lower than the average of the whole week. That means what? Weekend traffic is higher. That means weekend traffic is higher. So this may be a facility which is serving, or this may be a highway which is serving a facility which is used more on weekends. Maybe a shopping plaza, maybe a park, maybe a beach or something like this. So this is how you can study the trends. If weekday traffic is lower than the overall average, that means this facility or this highway is used more on, or the traffic is more on weekends as compared to weekdays. And if this value was higher, AWT was higher than ADT, then we will say the other way around, that this facility is higher traffic on weekdays. Okay, now we will talk about hourly volumes. Hourly volumes are used for design and operations of traffic flow and control devices. So when you go for design of the highway, okay, you will ask me for hourly volume. Okay, hourly volume. You are going to design a highway, going to design a signal, or you are trying to analyze traffic flow. You will use hourly volume. Okay, so daily volume is just for planning or just for studying the trend of traffic. But hourly volume is when you are coming to actual design analysis. As I said earlier, each hour of the day has different volume. So which hourly volume I'm talking about? The hourly volume which is the highest in the day. The hourly volume which is the highest in the day. And the hour which has the highest volume is known as peak hour. Okay. So what is the peak hour? Peak hour is the hour of the day which has the highest hourly volume. One more point about hourly volume is that it is given as a directional value. Okay, so like I said, for daily volume, it is a total of both directions. Hourly volume is for one direction. Hourly volume is for one direction. Okay, now then the point comes that we are designing the highway. So both directions will have different volume. So should I design each direction differently? Do we see different design of highways in both directions? No, the answer is no. Why? Because if you have, for example, if this is the peak direction in the morning, then the other direction will become the one with the highest volume in the evening. This is normally the case, like 99.9%, this is the case. That one direction has high volume in the morning, then the other direction will have almost the same volume in the evening. Okay, so in different times both directions will have the same volume, okay, or almost the same volume. So you keep the same design, number of lanes, lane width, shoulder, everything, speed limit, everything is the same. Okay, and this is the reason that both directions will carry same volume. Okay, so if this is the peak direction in the morning, then this will become the peak direction in the evening, and so on. If you have a highway where you find that one direction has significantly higher volume than the other direction, always one direction has significantly higher volume very often, let's say like this, very often one direction has higher volume than the other, okay, then you may use a reversible lane. What is a reversible lane? Reversible lane is an extra lane in the middle of two directions, okay, and you can reverse the direction of this lane in different times of the day if you need. So this lane is like an extra lane. So both directions have same number of lanes, but this one is extra in the middle. And the direction of this lane depends upon which direction has more flow. So if this direction has more flow, there will be an electronic signboard over this lane, and it will show to the driver that this lane is for this direction for the time. Okay, and at some other time you can reverse the board and you can show the other driver that this lane is for you. Okay, so these are reversible lanes, and they can be used if you have like very rare condition that one direction has extremely high flow always, or in most cases in the other direction. Okay, then you can use the reversible lane. Now, as I said, you will design for future, right? You are designing for, let's say, 10 years in the future. Future volume is given as daily volume. So I need to convert the daily volume into hourly volume. I need to convert the daily volume into hourly volume. That hourly volume is known as DDHV, directional design hourly volume. And to convert daily volume into hourly volume, I will multiply with D and K. So A is a daily volume, D is a percentage of traffic coming in the peak direction. So daily volume was the total of 24 hours for both directions. Daily volume is the total for 24 hours for both directions. So first of all, I will multiply it with the percentage of traffic coming in the peak direction. So it will become for one direction. And then I will multiply with the K factor, which is the percentage of traffic coming in the peak hour. So from daily it will go to hourly. Okay. So daily volume multiplied by D, the percentage of traffic coming in the peak direction, multiplied by K, which is the percentage of traffic coming in the peak hour. K and D values can be taken from this table. Okay, so you can see values depend upon the type of area. So we have rural, suburban, and urban areas. What is the difference between these areas? The population density. Rural areas have low density. Urban areas have high population density. Suburban areas are areas near the boundary of the urban area. Areas which are near the boundary of the urban areas. You can look at the trend here. When I go from rural to urban, the values are decreasing. K and D factors are decreasing. Why? Because areas which have high population density, they have high traffic as well. Areas which have high population density have high traffic as well. And in high traffic conditions, the traffic is almost uniform. So the difference between the peak hour and other hours of the day, or the difference between the peak direction and the other direction of the highway is very low. Okay, so since the difference is low, these factors become lower as well. These factors go lower as well. Okay, so when traffic is uniform between different hours and different directions, then these factors are lower, and that happens when you are going into high population density areas. Okay, now you can see with urban highways, I have two types of highways here: radial and circumferential. Radial, the word comes from radius. Circumferential, the word comes from circumference. Okay, so radius means what? The highway which is going from the center towards the outside boundary of the city. Okay, that is the radial highway, radial route. The route which is going from the center towards the boundary of the city. And circumferential is the route which is going around the center. Okay, so this one is circumferential, and this type of highway is radial. Okay, so you pick the values of K and D according to the type of area and type of highway. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'm going for the attendance. Hissa Ahmad, Ali Khalil, and Qusay Ahmad. Isa Ahmad, Ali Khalil, and Qusay Ahmad.
Yes.
Qusay is here, Isa is here. Okay, all of you are here.
Yes, Dr. Amin.
Yeah. Yusuf Ahmad Nizam, Hawra Nasir, Ali Muhammad.
Yes, doctor.
Ali is here.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Hawra is here. Yusuf Ahmad Nizam.
Yes, doctor.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sadiq Abdul Hussain and Balqis Hamad. Okay. Hala Munir, Umar Walid, Abdul Rahman Muhammad. Hala Abdul Rahman, Umar Walid. Umar Walid. Not here. Sara Ali and Batul S. Majid. Batul S. Majid. Batul S. Majid. Not here. Saleh Mahdi and Ahmad Muhammad Mahdi. Saleh is here, Ahmad is here, okay. Batul is here, okay, fine. Sara Khamis, Zainab Ali Ahmad. Sara is here, Zainab, okay. Okay. People from section 2 can lower their hand or leave. People from section 1, raise your hands. Ala Sozan Mahmoud Isa, okay. Ala Mahmoud Isa. Okay. Everybody, section 1 is also done. Okay, thank you. See you guys tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.